Hi, I'm Bonnie Pollock, Vice President of Philanthropy and Community Engagement here at Trinity Woods, formerly Oklahoma Methodist Manor. And I am here with Weldon, Tisdale, and we are really excited to learn a little bit about Juneteenth, which is coming up.
Yes, Juneteenth takes place June 19th each year. This year is probably I think it's the first time that Juneteenth will be a national holiday.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's kind of exciting.
yeah. And being, I'm from Texas, so we've always celebrated Juneteenth. Juneteenth was the day that enslaved Africans in Texas received the news that they were free. This was 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation
Okay.
Proclamation. So June 19th, 1865 is when Texas enslaved Africans received the news they were free.
So, did Juneteenth celebration come about because of the Texas enslaved Africans, or was it a nationwide?
Primarily because of Texas.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
it spread from Texas because during the Great Migration, many Texans then began to move to California and there other parts of the country. And so Juneteenth was still recognized by those individuals because that's what was their celebration. They didn't really
Okay.
recognize July the 4th because Frederick Douglass had written a speech called What to the Slave is July 4th, because the enslaved Africans, they weren't free. So how do you celebrate when
Yeah.
you are not free? And so Juneteenth became the celebration eventually for all who recognized it as the day Texas enslaved Africans were set free. And then other groups began to join in on it, and it's become a national holiday now.
I do feel like growing up, I didn't really know much about it. I do feel like it's been of late. Do you feel like that's been true, or is it just because I didn't grow up in Texas? Like, do you feel like that it's been more of a national presence lately because of where we are as a country, or was it just how I grew up? I don't know.
Part of it is how we grew up. There were few people that knew about Juneteenth outside of Texas and maybe pockets in California and other areas because it really was a Texas holiday.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
it really was because that was the place that got the news so late. However, it has spread, and I think the last really 5 years it has become a national phenomenon. One of the reasons why is one of the trips that I think one of the presidents was going to take was going to be around that time frame, and so it kind of coincided and conflicted with some of the celebrations. So it became aware to others. We here in Oklahoma, particularly Tulsa, have been doing Juneteenth for a long time. And there have been celebrations, picnics, I say cookouts, concerts, a lot of things that have taken place. Big celebration. And of late, it had kind of gone away, but now it's back in full force. So this year, there are going to be several celebrations going on between June 16th and June 19th.
I think that's so
Monday
cool.
is June 19th.
And it's
It's
like
a
a
holiday.
federal holiday.
It
I mean,
is.
banks
Yes.
are closed,
Yes.
government buildings are closed.
Yes.
That's a big
Yes.
deal.
And there are many times a lot of African Americans don't go to work on that
Oh,
day.
that's so
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Tell me other things I don't know about June.
Juneteenth. Oh wow. Well, when we were in Texas, growing up, we had my brother-in-law was a barbecuer extraordinaire.
Okay.
And so he would set up his tent or his trailer, whatever it might be, and we would cook from sunup to sundown. I think 2 or 3 days of celebration. I was tired and I was ready to get back to Tulsa. But it was the most fun. Thousands upon thousands of people would show up.
Wow.
And there would be music. There, of course, there was a food, fun, celebration that took place.
So what are you going to do with Juneteenth this year? What
This
are your
year,
plans?
we won't do much. We'll go to some
Okay.
of the celebrations, and we'll be at some of the events that will be taking place, and I'll do a little cooking, but that's about it.
Okay, so we'll show up at Weldon's house and enjoy Juneteenth with Weldon's family. But tell me, like, if you could let us walk away with one piece of knowledge about this I mean, I think I was reading the other day how extraordinary it was that it become this federal holiday after all this time.
Right.
Like, what would you want us to walk away with knowledge about it?
Oh, wow. I guess the thing is that it took 2.5 years for the information to travel to parts of Texas.
Which
Why
is
was that
crazy
the case?
unheard
Yeah.
of. Like,
Yeah.
to my generation, you're like, 2.5, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And especially today's generation probably really doesn't get it.
Not at all, because hey, we got social media.
Yeah, we're right
Instant.
here, instant.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that there were other slave owners that took their slaves to Texas because it was being kept quiet in Texas. And so you had hundreds of thousands of enslaved individuals that were there in Texas because they knew the information had not arrived, and there was a reason it was being delayed. The Union Army was just taking longer than expected to be able to get the news there. So when they finally showed up on June 19th in Galveston, Texas with the news, there was great celebration. Yeah.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
hadn't really thought about it like
Yeah.
just the transfer of information.
Right. So it was the last group that received the information. They were free.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing that. Is
Yeah.
there anything else you want to leave us with today?
No, I have these books
And they
that you
pick
can
this
get.
up? Yep.
You pick these up and find anywhere around the building. I'll make sure that some are out there. I'm not going to charge the $10 that I was going to charge.
You're welcome.
They're free.
Well, thank you so much for learning a little bit with me today, and we hope you enjoyed this little, very brief discussion on Juneteenth and what it has meant. Thank you so much.
Ah, thank you.